few breaths to get warmed up here. So we're going to inhale and exhale, and inhale and exhale. Last one, inhale and exhale. We're going to take a nice wide stance depending on whether or not you have a bump. It's the first trimester, so you might not be showing yet, but we're going to just make space for baby if you are. So we're just going to add our arms to our legs. We're going to inhale and stand back up one, and inhale and stand back up two. Inhale three. Inhale four. Inhale five. Inhale six. Inhale seven. Inhale eight. Inhale nine, and inhale. You should start feeling some length now in those arms and those legs. We're just going to feel the blood kind of moving around, getting warm. So I'm just pulsing side to side now. I'm gonna just do a little bit of cardio type warming up here. We're gonna lunge to the right, 10, and back, 9, and back, 8, and back, 7, and back, 6, and back, 5, and back, 4, and back, 3, up, 2, up, and 1, up. You should really feel this. Let's do that again. 10, 9, in your glutes, 8, not so much your quads, 7, 6, keep that breath flowing, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And for this last time, I'm going to turn so you can see how I would be using my glutes rather than my quads. We're going to go 10, and you can see how my chest is coming forward and my butt is going back. 7, 6, and 5. My lower abs are engaging just to protect my low back from coming into a big, deep sway. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Second time. We're going 10. Good. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. We're just going to kind of march it out here to keep our legs, the blood flowing in our legs. But as I kind of talk to you about technique as we move on, we're going to keep that heart rate up. So if at any point you're feeling like it's too intense, just slow it down. Don't go as deep. Once again, we don't really want to be feeling a lot of knee pain or hip pain or back pain or pelvic pain. None of those things are good to push through. We're going to come into wide-legged squats now. So we're going to bring our toes out, facing out to the sides, and we're going to be focusing on our inner thighs. We're going to reach forward, 10, 9, 8. And as you stand up, squeeze those thighs together. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's do it again. And 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's walk it out. So those are some pretty darn good squats. We're gonna try to move into a really deep squat now. So it's gonna be a wide-legged, like a wider stance, because as we get more and more pregnant, we're gonna need to widen our stance further. So if you are early in your first trimester, you may be able to have a bit more of a narrow stance. But the idea here is that we're not tucking our bums under. So if you find yourself tucking your butt under quite a bit, you're going to want to use a block for support, or just not go as deep. So I'm going to come to the side and I'm going to show you what that looks like. So I'm going to come about, feet are going to be about the mat width apart for me, the yoga mat. And I'm going to come all the way down as deep as I can, keeping those legs nice and wide. And I want to be able to breathe length into the tailbone. And we're going to come up 10. And down 9, and down 8, and down 7, and down 6, and down 5, and down 4. Watch that bum. Make sure you've got a nice angle here and you're not rounding under like this. And down 3, and this one you might feel in your quads. And down 2, and down 1. Let's go ahead and walk it out. Nice work. So that was a pretty nice warm up to get that heart rate moving. Most of our classes are going to have a nice warm up for the legs to get the heart rate up and start some strength training in the legs. We're going to go ahead and move into the core piece now. So I want you to come down onto the floor. Typically in the first trimester, it's okay for us to be lying flat on our backs, but just monitor if you're having any symptoms like lightheadedness or dizziness. You're going to want to roll on your side right away and get back up. But for those of you that feel able and are early enough on, let's go ahead and come down to the floor. So what we're going to do is we're going to need a yoga block eventually, but at the moment we're just going to work on those arms. So I want you to have your feet flat on the floor, and then I want you to bring your hands to the front of your pelvis, and I want you to feel yourself just pressing the small of your back into the floor, and then we might go ahead and add the block squeeze to assist with that. So we're going to feel those inner thighs squeezing the block. We're going to press the small of the back down to the floor just gently. Once again, we really shouldn't be having any pain or discomfort. We're going to then think about cinching the hip bones together, the lower hip bones together, and lifting baby up towards your head. So our lower abs are engaging a little bit. Keep that breath flowing. I'm a little bit out of breath from our squat workout. And then we're going to think about the small of our back on the floor. If you're having any pain here, you can add a towel roll under your spine if you need to. You can put a pillow under your head. We want to bring the floor to wherever your back is so that you have really good support. All right, so let's bring our hands to our rib cage. We want to think about the ribs stacking over the pelvis. So if they're thrusting forward like this, go ahead and take a big inhale and then bring those ribs down over the pelvis as much as you can. We're going to squeeze the block. So anytime we're doing upper body, we have to initiate that with our core. So now we're gonna bring our arms up, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna reach our fingertips toward the ceiling, and we're gonna reach overhead, 10, and then back up, 9, and then back up. Keep reaching up and out of those fingertips, 8, and then back up. Squeeze that block, 7, and then back up, 6, and up, 5, and up, 3, and up, 2, and up, and 1, and up. And go ahead and shake those arms out if you're feeling a little bit of that blood kind of flowing away from those fingertips. And then we're gonna come up to center. And for this one, you can add weights or you can not, it's up to you. We're gonna do little flies. Sometimes just gravity is enough. We're gonna come down, and then we're gonna reach our fingertips up and out. We're gonna come back up. And then the most important thing here is that you keep squeezing the block and engaging those, that lower abdominal wall, that the back is in full contact with the floor as much as possible. And then the last thing is we wanna be able to breathe length into the tailbone here. So we're gonna reach our hands up, inhale, 10, and up, 9, and up, 8, and up, 7, and up, 6, and up, 5, and up, 4, and up, 3, and up, 2, up, and 1, and up. Very good. Shake out those arms. And now we're going to come into some ab work. We're going to do little crunches. So what we're looking for here is that your lower abs are still engaged. You're still squeezing that block. You're zipping that belly together, and that those ribs are stacking over the pelvis as much as possible. We're going to take our right hand and bring it to our left rib, and our left arm is going to come reaching out toward the wall behind us. If this feels like a stretch in your chest, you might spend a couple of breaths here just stretching that out. But if you feel like you can make full contact on the floor with your arm, we're just going to take a big inhale. And then we're going to reach that arm overhead, and we're going to crunch up toward, we're going to draw our left rib cage down toward our right hip, keep that block squeezing, and we shouldn't feel any coning or doming through that abdominal wall. We're going to round through the spine, 10, and down, 9, down, 8, down, 7, down, 6, down, 5, down, 4, down, 3, down, 2, down, and 1, down. Switch sides, so left hand to right ribs now. Big inhale, 10, down, 9, down, 8, down, 7, down, 6, down, 5, down, 4, down, 3, down, 2, down, and 1, and down. And take a little break, shake it out. Once again, doing those little oblique crunches requires us to be able to keep our back nice and flat on the floor. We don't want to have any arching through the ribs as we try to reach, and we shouldn't have any coning or doming. So if any of that is happening for you, you can go ahead and modify into just a little bit more of like a little head lift here. And if that is still too much, then I want you to just do the reaching with no head lift. So let's go ahead and do that with some modifications. We'll start on the right side again. We're gonna go 10, down, 9, down, 8, down, 7, down, 6, down, 5, down, 4, down, 3, down, 2, down, and 1. And on the left side, I'm just going to show you reaching with no head lift. We're going to go 10, 9, 8, 7. So this should come from the back of the shoulder blade. 6, 5, and the ribs should be coming in and down. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay, good job. We're going to go ahead and move into some bridges now. We're going to squeeze the block. And I want you to feel your little hip bones here, and we're going to gently pull the belly button into our spine. We're going to lift up into a little bridge. Not too high. We don't really want this coming from our quads or our low back. We also don't want our tailbone to be thrusting our hips forward, but we do want to feel our inner thighs and our hamstrings a little bit. Good, so that's 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and again, let's go 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. We'll take that block away. I'm going to do a little bit of lower abs now. So I want you to once again come to those hip bones. We're going to lift that belly up from the bottom up, and you want to feel nice flattening through that lower abdominal wall. We're going to take a big inhale. On the exhale, make sure that those ribs are stacked over the pelvis. And what I want you to do is keep that baby lifting towards your head. I want you to feel like you're squeezing a block, so inner thighs engage, and then we're going to march the right leg up and then down, and nothing should move. We're going to switch sides now. We shouldn't have any wobbling in the low back at all. We shouldn't have any coning or doming through the front of the belly. Our back should be nice and flat. Let's recall that. 6, 5, and we're just training for our lower abdominal wall to fire here. 3, 2, and 1. Let's do it again. Here we go. 10. And if you're not able to do this without lots of wobbling, you can go ahead and add your hands down to the floor for a little bit of lat support. You can also maybe not go quite as high, and then you can also just switch to our heel slide variation, which we'll do in just a moment here if none of that seems to be working. We don't want to be pushing through too much poor technique, because that could end up doing more harm than good. Okay, I kind of lost count, so we're going to call that good. I'm going to scooch up just a little bit. We're going to do the same thing here, and once again, this is your variation to come to if you feel like you couldn't do that correctly. We're just going to slide one heel out a little and then back in 10, and then the other one out and then back in 9. And we're looking for an activation right here where baby is hanging out just above the pelvis. And 6 and 5. We're looking for that low back to be in contact with the floor. 4, 3, and 2, and 1. Let's do it again. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay, we're going to go ahead and roll over onto your side. Here we're going to add arms and core together. Whew, so take some nice deep breaths for sure in the first trimester, especially as you're gaining a lot of blood through the body and your kidneys are having to filter more and more. Sudden movements can create a little bit of dizziness. So we want to make sure that you're tuned into that. If you feel a little lightheaded when you move from one position to another, you're just going to want to stay in a position for a little period of time. Breathe, try not to move until everything feels nice and settled. Okay, so what we're going to do here is we're going to lift up onto our elbow and we're going to feel our side ribs here tucking in and not kind of flaring out. So we're going to really tuck in our ribs. We're going to push our body away from the floor and we're going to extend the top leg forward here. And we're just going to hold this. 10, 9, 8, and you should feel this throughout the whole side body. I want you to think about rounding in instead of arching back. So we want to use the front of our body for support, the side of our hips, and not our back. And we definitely want to be feeling this in our shoulder. And 1. Let's go ahead and switch sides now. Here we go. We're going to come up onto the elbow and we're going to make sure those ribs are tucked in. We're going to bring that one front leg forward. And we're going to hold for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. If it's too intense for you, I want you to just keep your hips on the floor and just press up, shoot through the shoulder blade. Once again, we shouldn't really be feeling any pain or discomfort, just some muscle activity. Okay, we're gonna come into a little bit of core work in hands and knees, and then we're gonna wrap up with a cool down. So we're gonna come into hands and knees. And what I want you to do is take a big inhale into your ribs, and I want you to feel your back lifting toward the ceiling with that inhale. So we're going to inhale. But I want you to think about expanding in all dimensions of your back, through the tailbone, through the sacrum, through the side ribs. And notice how, if you're really able to do that, then you're going to have a little passive activation of your abdominal wall. And we're going to reach the right arm forward and down. And left arm forward and down. We're going to kick the left leg back and down. We're going to kick the right leg back and down. So you can keep doing this. Right hand, left leg, right leg, but if you feel up to it, go ahead and add opposite hand, opposite leg. So right arm, right leg, hold, and switch. Left arm, right leg, hold, and switch, and switch. Very good. And then go ahead and reach your arms in front of you, drop your head, let your hips come back and up, and I want you to breathe deeply into your tailbone, opening up the tailbone. We're just going to cool it down now with some gentle stretches. And I want you to breathe length into your sit bones, in between your tailbone. Let your shoulders and neck relax here. And then we're gonna lie onto one side. So I'm gonna be on my right side here, and I'm gonna be facing you. So I'm gonna reach my left arm forward, and then I'm gonna pull my left shoulder blade, and I'm gonna bring it down to the floor for a gentle twist. If you need to, add a block between your legs to help anchor your low back so that you're not really twisting from your low back too much. We really want to twist from the upper back. And feel that opening in the chest. And let's reach again. And bring it back. And last time. And bring it back behind you. Let's go ahead and switch sides. So for you, you can probably just roll over, but I'm gonna come to my other side so you can see me. I'm gonna reach my right arm forward, and I'm gonna bring it back. And I think the block can be super helpful here just to make sure that your spine is safe. There's some thought that twisting during pregnancy is unsafe for the abdominal wall for diastasis recti, but the truth is, as long as we aren't twisting incorrectly, so as long as we have good support through those inner thighs, which the block can really help with, and we're not really just cranking down on that low back area, and we have some lower abdominal support, then it should be pretty safe. And one other thing that you're going to look for is that coning or doming through that abdominal wall. In your third trimester, that's going to happen. We just want to be minimizing that, especially in the first and second trimesters. Good. Deep breath in. And go ahead and come on up to hands and knees again. We're going to do some leg stretches. So we're going to be on hands and knees. We're going to stick that left leg out to the side here, and we're just going to rock back onto the right toes and heels, breathing some length into those inner thighs. And then let's do the other side. And this shouldn't be painful at all on your knees or ankles or anything like that. If you need to not sit back as far, that's totally fine. Let's just come back to child's pose with our hips nice and high, deep breaths. And we're gonna bring our hands into prayer and bring them overhead for a little bit of tricep stretch. And then we're going to come up into sitting, cross-legged, and we'll close our eyes with a deep inhale. Feel our nervous system settling, roll our shoulder blades back, and the neck out. And thank you so much for joining me today. Hope to see you next time.